into another episode of the Clapp Trap. We have the Friday episode wrapping up the week in sports. Some good stuff to talk about with the Bruins. Some bad stuff to talk about with the Red Sox. We got a Monday night football game for the Patriots. Maybe we'll get into a little bit of that discussion. And the Celtics just keep doing what the Celtics keep doing. So, a good one today. A good way to wrap up the week. And I cannot wait to give my opinions on the Red Sox stuff. And we're going to do that in a little bit, but we're going to start off the show today with the Boston Bruins, one of the best teams in the NHL right now. Surprisingly, just behind, I think the New Jersey Devils are the only team that are really at this point still holding on to an advantage from a point standpoint. But that's actually just because of the fact that they've played more games. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, we're both at 43 points. I believe after the Bruins have actually caught up a little bit in games, now only one game back as far as how many have been played. Bruins have played 25. Devils have played 26. And you just had another beatdown performance by this Boston Bruins team. And I'm sorry, I may be getting a little sick. So if you're hearing a little bit of something in the throat, or whatever is going on with me, I don't know. I might be coming down with something. Hopefully it's not the COVID, but we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure you'll find out next week if that turns into a full-blown COVID attack. But this Bruins team, after the loss to the Vegas Golden Knights, which I didn't really get to talk about and how I felt about that one, Wednesday night, you go into a performance against the former champs in the Colorado Avalanche, a team who you had just beaten the week prior in your own building and shown what you were able to do. And yes, the Avalanche haven't been able to start off to a good season so far. You can say maybe the Stanley Cup championship hangover a little bit, kind of like what you're seeing over in the NFL with the Rams, obviously. But I don't even think it's that. I think that they've had a tough schedule overall. They played a lot of road games to start off their season, had a lot of back-to-backs. And their season is about to get a little bit easier over the next 20 games, a lot more home games. I don't think they really have any back-to-backs, maybe one. So that Avalanche team, I am suspecting, will get better soon, and their record will reflect that. But that doesn't mean that the Bruins didn't go out there and whoop their butts in this one on Wednesday night. Man, what a great performance. I mean, the only thing that we got our butts kicked in was that Nosek fight. And that was a brutal fight, by the way. And I don't think that Nosek wanted anything to do with that one, really. He was just kind of standing up for his top-tier player on his team in Pastrnak. Pastrnak gets labeled. Nosek goes over to him. Nosek gets a slashing call, first of all, which I don't know if that was just basically, from a standpoint of, hey, he's just trying to get his attention kind of thing, and you end up getting the call. But obviously, and I'm forgetting the Avalanche player at the time, I think he was like number 21 or something like that. I forget his name. Turns around and immediately is like, all right, you want to go? Let's go. And just drops Nosek on maybe the third punch of the fight. I'm talking Nosek had no chance the entire time. Don't even think he threw a punch. Just ate a couple like easier ones and then just got absolutely dropped right on the button. That was a tough look for the team. But after the subsequent penalty kill, which the Bruins were able to handle pretty easily, I would say overall, Omar doing his thing, defense doing their thing. It seemed like, surprisingly enough, the Bruins were the one who got the momentum boost based off of that fight. And you could say maybe it's because Pastrnak got woken up by that hit. It was a nice clean check, too, and he got absolutely labeled at center ice. But he wakes up. Obviously, Pasta comes back with a crazy shift. He would have had a goal earlier in the shift if the pass was not in his feet. I forget who it was from. I don't know if it was from Krejci or if it was from Frederick. I don't remember who was actually passing it to him at that time on the first pass. But then you have another play where Krejci is skating back around behind the net, comes out from the side of it, nice little backhand out to Pastrnak, who once again is open in a slot area that he is always going to bury good shots, and he puts one right off that left post and in. Great shot by Pastrnak. Continues to be the linchpin of the Boston Bruins scoring this season. And you got to hope that continues. But the man is trying to go out there and get paid. I think that's pretty obvious as well at this point. But that was a great shift for them. Like I said, all the momentum goes to the Bruins, and you're able to kind of battle back with that whole thing there and continue it going on. And in Colorado, man, I gotta be honest, coming off of a championship season, coming off a Stanley Cup winning season, I was expecting the home crowd to be a little better, honestly. And no real offense to them or anything, but you saw a lot of gold jerseys out there in the crowd. You were hearing "Let's go Bruins" chants as early as the second period, early second period. I mean, this away crowd was pretty much nowhere to be found, if you ask me. I mean, obviously the first period was neck and neck. Second period is when all the kind of the crazy drama started to happen. You have the Pastrnak hit, you have the big fight, people are going crazy, Nosek gets dropped, then you go and you have a crazy penalty kill, and then subsequent great goal by Pastrnak, and we're off and run, right? So I don't know. It was interesting to see hear the "Let's go Bruins" chants on the broadcast that loud in a stadium where at the time that I was hearing the chants, they were only down 1-0, 2-0, and you're the former Stanley Cup champs. Come on, Colorado, you got to get better with your crowd there. I think. But hey, this is coming from a Boston sports fan who always expects the Garden to be bumping no matter what, if it's a regular season game, playoff game, whatever it is. I think that's usually how it's going to go. But then you have the Frederick Steele in the zone. The Frederick, Hall, and Coyle line was on fire in this game. On absolute fire in this one. Forechecking, steals, whatever you needed. That goal that they had, Frederick steals the puck. Nice pass over to Coyle. Coyle puts it on a perfect pass across to Hall for an easy tap in right in front of the net, basically, for a goal there. That was a great one. Great. They had another goal later on in the game. Hall had a great, break in, going right past players, throwing passes in front of the net. He's doing amazing stuff. So I was actually surprised how good that line was in this game. I mean, constant pressure, forechecking, everything you want to see there. You had guys like Forbert stepping up on the defensive side, good poke checking and stopping of the Avalanche attacks left and right. Happy to see that. Ullmark was playing. Excuse me, there it is again. That COVID may be coming up on me here, but Ullmark was playing crazy. 28 saves through the first two periods. He was obviously keeping this team very much in there. Avalanche had some good chances in this one. And I got to tell you, at this point, there was two things that came away from this Avalanche game to me. Point number one, this Bruins team is hungry. They are just hungry to come out here every single night, go for it, keep scoring, good defense, and they're going to continue to fight all the way through the game. Even when they're up 3-0 in the third period, whatever it is, they're going for that fourth goal. They are hungry right now, and it's a nice thing to see. It feels different than years past how this team has been able to work, and that's probably because of the change on offense, the way that they're opening the ice up more. It just feels like they're on top of people constantly. You add in the defense that was already in place from Bruce Cassidy, and you kept that intact when he left. And then you've got a great offensive strategy now. This team is hungry, and I'm happy to see it. The second thing that I saw, or the second thing that I came out of this game thinking is, Linus Ullmark is good. He is a good goaltender. And I think, once again, I think that at this point, any of the haters who were saying that the Ullmark contract of $5 million per year, who I heard there were haters out there about that contract. People didn't want Ullmark. Obviously, everyone was excited about Swayman. We still are. I still am. I know he hasn't had a good season this year. He's been up and down. But I think that Swayman is somebody who can still turn into a good goaltender in the future. He's still very young. But right now, you got a goalie in the name of Linus Ullmark, who's 29 years old, has 2 more years under his contract at $5 million apiece, and he is good. He is good for this team. He has been good this entire season. He is leading the league in goals against average at 1.93 and save percentage at 0.936 at this point. At least that was before the shutout that he just had. A huge shutout, his second of the season. And since November 3rd, I should say, he hasn't given up. He's given up more than 2 goals just once. So the man has been on fire. 2 goals, 1 goal a game, that kind of stuff. Under 2 goals against average. Crazy. 14th highest average annual value for any goaltender in the league. 14th. And this man is having the best season he's had maybe in his entire career. He's leading in wins, which I know that that's more of a team stat. You can't really give that to the goaltender, but obviously he's a huge part of it. He's leading in the goals against average and the save percentage. What else can you ask for from your goaltender, who I think a lot of people came in thinking that this contract was going to be, he's going to kind of back up Swayman as Swayman becomes the goaltender we want him to be. So for anybody who was hating on that Ullmark contract or anything, that contract is looking great right now, and he looks good. He is a good goalie, and I'm happy to be able to have been on the right side of that one since day one. You loved what you were able to see from him on a Buffalo Sabres team that was absolute trash, and he was leading or in top 3 statistical categories for 5-on-5 and in save percentage, goals against average, 5-on-5 average. On the worst team in the league, he was up there. He was in the top 5, top 3 goaltenders while he was on that team. Give him a team that can actually play defense in front of him. Look what he's able to do. So happy to see that one. Extremely happy for Ullmark. I mean, the $5 million years keeps feeling more and more like a bargain at this point. Like I said, he's only 29 years old. He's got 2 more years under contract. Goaltenders usually don't hit that cliff until about 35 years old. So we could have a goaltender for the next 5-6 seasons that is going to be very legit. Obviously, you're going to need to work out a new contract, but having him right now for only $5 million, you got to feel good about that, Bruins fans. You got it. While Swayman continues to try and build himself into the goaltender that we think that he can be. We don't know yet, but Ullmark has proven that he can be that guy. So happy about that one. Excited to see what this team is going to be able to do with Ullmark in net. Can't wait for a playoff run. Ooh, it's exciting times. Exciting times. We're playing the Coyotes tonight on that West Coast road trip. Hope you guys are staying up for it. And I think that obviously that one's going to be a game that they should be able to handle against a lesser team in the Coyotes. And we'll see how it is in that barn, that stadium that they have that can only hold, 6,000 people, 7,000 people? That should be an interesting one as well. I don't know. But actually, the one last thing that I did want to touch on with the Bruins was going back to that game against the Golden Knights. There was only one real quick thought that I had on that one. Obviously, you lose that one in the shootout after battling back from 3-0 down to get it tied, to go into overtime. And yes, they should have won it in overtime. I mean, you get kind of a iffy penalty call that gives us a 4-on-3 advantage. You can't do anything with that. You go to the shootout. It goes into extra shoot, like you had to go 4 or 5 rounds. How many rounds did it go in that one just to get it to a point where we ended up losing that one? Nobody could score for the Bruins at that point, not even DeBrusk, going against big old meanie Bruce Cassidy as coach. I know that he wanted to go out there and be the one that netted that game-winning goal more than anything, but I don't know, in that first period it completely felt like the Bruce Cassidy factor was an issue. It felt like they were skating in mud. It felt like they were looking over at that other bench being like, oh, man, it's the big old mean Bruce Cassidy again. I don't know if I can skate in front of this guy. He's going to call me out for whatever I do wrong, which that sucked. That sucked to see because that was the one thing that you didn't want. Obviously, 14-0 at home going into that one, and now you're going to have Bruce Cassidy and the Vegas Golden Knights come in, and they're going to whoop your butts. They're going to go up 3-0 in your building, and they're going to dominate you. That was going to be a rough one. I don't care about the whole 14-0 thing. If he comes in here and you mentally are just fragile right out the gate from going against your former coach who you didn't like because he was a little too mean, come on, guys. You can't have that. But this team battles. This team battles back at all times, and it turned out to be not that bad of a loss, if I'm being honest. I feel like going that distance, scoring the 3 goals to tie the game back up, once again, you messed up in overtime, getting the power play advantage and not able to finish that one off. I get that part, but then you go into the shootout. You were able to hold serve kind of throughout at that point, and you ended up walking away with 1 point. I'm okay with that. I don't think it's as big of a loss as some people out there, I think, are thinking at this point. I mean, the ability to get the point, get the tie, and the overtime loss was huge to me in this one because you came out flat. You looked like complete babies for the first period. You looked like you couldn't handle it with the coach on the other side. And then you woke up. You woke up, you battled back into that one. You dominated the rest of the game. You scored 3 goals. You outscored them 3-0 the rest of the way until the shootout. So I don't know. This one, I think you take kind of a moral victory a little bit on it. I get that everybody wanted the home win streak to continue, but it wasn't going to go forever. And this way wasn't the worst way to lose it. It's not like I said, it's not like you got dominated completely for the 60 minutes up and down the ice by a Vegas Golden Knights team led by your former coach. That didn't happen. You battled back. You got back into this one. You sent it to overtime. You messed up in overtime. And then it goes to a shootout, which who even really respects a shootout result anyways? I mean, it's just a skills competition at that point. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't feel bad about this one. I feel pretty good still. And then you bounced right back and you whooped up on the Avalanche. And now you have a Coyotes game to continue that momentum. So was it really that big of a problem? No. Would I have liked to see them win the game? Of course. But I'm not worried about it too much right now. I'm really not. I'm not. There is a team that I am worried about, though, and we got to move on to them at this point. We got to start worrying about this Boston Red Sox team. I mean, Xander Bogaerts is gone, people. Did anyone think that this was going to end any differently? I know that there was diehard Red Sox fans and people who held out hope, even until the last night, where there was reports that Xander's staying, and don't count it out. The Red Sox are right there. They're about to get him signed up. He wants to stay and play for the Red Sox. We just went out and got Kenley Jansen, who is one of his friends. He's going to be the closer of the team now. Of course, Bogaerts is going to stay on the team. That's what people were thinking. That was a joke. That was a joke of reporting. The Red Sox were nowhere even close. I think they offered $160 million. Maybe I'll go as high as $180 million for him. I think that was too high. I think they only offered him $160 million. He signed for $280 with the Padres. I know that it was a little bit of an overpay deal, but 11 years, $280 million. And the Red Sox went in there and they offered 160 to maybe 180. I think I'm giving them a little bit of benefit of the doubt there. I don't think that they were even close to that number. You didn't even get to 200. You didn't even get to 200 with Xander Bogaerts. You didn't care. You didn't want him. I'm seeing reports of, and I don't know if this is real or not, but Chaim Bloom was completely shocked that he didn't get the player, was looking at his phone saying that, hold on a second. I think I need to look into something. Why isn't this, going through or anything like that? Because you didn't offer him anywhere close to the actual value. And you know that a player is going to get his money from another team if he's not going to get it from you. And you weren't willing to match. You weren't willing to go even to $200 million for this player who I've said time and time again is one of the backbone pieces of this Red Sox organization, another homegrown talent, somebody who is, made himself basically the face of the franchise at this point. I mean, he was the most likable guy. He was a big locker room presence. Everybody liked him, it seemed, and he was producing on top of it. He was also a good player. So don't give me his age. Don't give me any of that kind of stuff. He was producing for what he was. Defensively last year too, and offensively. I mean, such a joke. This is such a joke. You let this player go for what? Because once again, and I've said this multiple times before, at least you went out there and you tried to get the replacement in Trevor Story, so I guess I can kind of give you a little bit there. You completely flubbed up the Mookie Betts situation, in my opinion, but whatever. You went away from him because you didn't want to pay him $380 or $400 million. I get that. You still got absolutely nothing for him. I don't count Verdugo as a good return for Mookie Betts. Then now you're going to go and lose Xander Bogaerts to the Padres, who, yes, the Padres were in on Judge and a few other players that they were trying to overpay for, and it just ended up coming down to, okay, well, Xander Bogaerts is available. We'll go and overpay for him. You weren't willing to go in to the negotiating table and even give Xander a close offer so he could think about it. 160 million. I'm pretty sure that that's what they offered him. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to look back into it now at this point, but I'm pretty sure that they were that far off. They were that far off on what they were trying to give Xander Bogaerts. I'm not going to be able to find it this quickly here, and it's going to be terrible radio / podcasting if I just continue to research things during the show. So I'm just going to stick with it. 160 million, you were so off. All right, I'll even give you 180 million. You were 100 million off of what he ended up going for. 100 million. Of course, a player is going to go somewhere where he's going to get that kind of money. Are you crazy? You got to at least come halfway. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's insane. I'm not shocked at all. I'm still laughing and ranting about it right now because you kind of knew it was coming. If you were me, if you were on this side of things, I mean, you could see the writing on the wall throughout the entire season. You can see it since they've hired Shine Bloom. I mean, this is the team that they want to be. They want to be the Tampa Bay Rays. They want to be the low budget, low market team, the little brother team that goes in there and gets a few players here and there that look good statistically, that all of the analytics says this is going to be a good player for you. You can get X, Y, and Z for this much money, as opposed to going and getting this number one guy over here for way more. They're going to continue doing this. They're going to continue doing this and ruining this Red Sox team, a team that could have had an absolute beast of a lineup by now if they were just willing to pay like the Yankees and the Dodgers and these teams that know what they're doing when they want to go out there and win a championship. You got to pay for it in baseball. And luckily enough, you're one of the teams that can actually do it. So go do it. Why are we not? You're just trying to save money for John Henry. The guy doesn't have enough money. He clearly doesn't care anymore. And then on top of everything else, you're going to tell me that they're going to go out there and they're going to sign this Masataka Yoshida guy, this brand new Japanese player coming into the league who maybe he'll be good, maybe he won't, who knows? It's going to be an experiment. For $90 million, you're going to give him $90 million, but you're going to be $100 million off on Xander Bogaerts. So you're telling me that we could have kept Xander Bogaerts if you didn't go out there and get this Masataka Yoshida guy. And maybe I'll have to eat my words on this one, but if he doesn't live up to this $90 million contract, how big of a mistake is it to go out there and get a random player that you know nothing about when you had Xander Bogaerts right there who could play in your lineup this coming season and for the next 4 or 5 years at a really high level? Instead, you're going to give 4 years to this Masataka Yoshida guy. No offense to him. Haven't looked into him yet. I'm sure he's been great in Japan, whatever other leagues that he's been playing in. I'm sure that there is a chance he'll come in here and he'll have a big impact on the team. Probably. There could be that case. You see players from overseas all the time. They come over here and some of them work out. But you're going to give Xander Bogaerts a deal that's $100 million off of what he was going to end up getting, and then you're going to go sign this guy for $90 million. As a Red Sox fan, you can't feel good right now. You can't feel good about this team. Well, you go out there, you did sign a closer in Jansen, and we'll see what he's going to look like at this point. I don't know if he's going to really be a beastly closer, somebody who's going to be really the shutdown guy, but I guess it moves players into different positions. Matt Barnes now doesn't have to try and be your closer. He can be more of a setup guy. You can maybe get, Tanner Houck into a different role. I don't know if they're going to continue trying to work him as a starting pitcher or if they can get him into more of that setup, longer reliever type role. I don't know what we're going to do there. You still don't have any starting pitching. Now you're losing bats. The one thing that we did have for this team was good bats, and now you're going to lose that too. What are we doing here? What do we do? It's just funny at this point because there are people now, there are Red Sox fans who are just figuring out now after losing Xander Bogaerts that, oh man, this really isn't going the way that I wanted it to go. Oh man, this isn't how I predicted. I thought that, okay, there's no way that they're going to let go of Bogaerts too, right? Though there are fans that are just coming to this realization now. And you know what's just on the horizon? Rafi Devers. Rafi Devers, like I said before, in episodes before, if they let Rafi Devers go too, there has to be a boycott. That you can't let Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, and Rafi Devers, all three of them, homegrown. You can't let them all go. You can't. You have to sign Devers. You weren't going to do this. If another thing with this Masataka contract here, if you don't sign Devers and you continue giving these outside players big contracts or semi-big contracts, it looks even worse when you don't have enough money to sign as a Devers. If you're $100 million off, which the last reports that I heard, you're also $100 million off on what Devers wants as well. So if you're $100 million off on him too, and you're going and giving $90 million deals to unproven Japanese players or anybody from other teams that you don't know how they're going to work in your system, when you have a guy like Rafael Devers or Xander Bogaerts in your system that you can just pay because you're the Boston Red Sox, there's got to be a boycott. There's got to be a boycott. There's got to be riots in the streets. Red Sox and baseball still matters in Boston pretty heavily. I think that people are still very invested in this Red Sox team. The generation that watches it obviously is getting older, but they still very much care. And they still want winning baseball. And Sean Bloom says that he's going to go out there and give the team or give the fans what they want. They're going to put out a product that's going to give winning baseball. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I have no faith. I don't see how anyone can have faith at this point. There's no way that you can trust what Bloom or the Red Sox organization is telling you. They're spoon-feeding you a bunch of lies at this point. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. So get ready for that, people. Get ready, because that is coming. That is coming at this point. All right. We got the Celtics, too, to talk a little bit about. They were able to dominate the Suns. They are once again on another win streak after losing to the Heat, last week. Now you go against the Nets on the road, Raptors on the road, and Suns on the road, and you handle them all pretty well. Jaylen Brown is starting to play himself into the conversation where everybody's talking about why isn't he involved in the MVP race at this point? He's going bananas. Jason Tatum's continuing to do his thing. Rob Williams is about to come back. Is there much more to say about this Celtics team right now other than this is their year? This is their year. It has to be their year. Now, the expectations are no longer just get to the finals. It's at very minimum, you have to get to a point where you're about to win the damn thing now at this point. I mean, you are dominating teams. It wasn't even close. The 125-98 against the Suns at the end of the day was just because at the end of the game, they got a lot of garbage time scoring. That was even a bigger blowout than 125-98. This team, I mean, I don't even think that Tatum really played in the fourth quarter. Brown didn't really play in the fourth quarter. I think that they were in to start it maybe, but there was no point to even having them in there. You got outscored 33-21 in the fourth quarter because we didn't care. We didn't care. You got outscored by 12 points in the third quarter because you didn't care. So, I mean, this game was over. This game was over at halftime, basically. I mean, we're talking about a team in the Celtics who, in this one, you only had all of your starters played under 30 minutes. You had Tatum, who played 29, Brown 28, and this is against a Suns team that's supposed to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference. They're 16-8 going into that game. Obviously, lost to the juggernaut that is the Celtics in this one, putting them down to 16-9. But I mean, this has to be one of the biggest beatdowns that teams have put on this early in the season. I don't know. At this point, you're 21-5. I'm thinking, what kind of a record can this team get to? At least 60 wins, right? Now we're thinking at least 60 wins, closer to 65 maybe, I'm thinking. I don't know. I mean, obviously the season will get harder. We're going to go through some spurts where they're not going to be shooting the best of all time. Basically, they're basically the best shooting team of all time right now, statistically. So I don't know. There's no way that that's going to last, right? Maybe. And then you're going to get Rob Williams, who you're going to have to change up the minutes for people. And obviously, we're going to see how that affects the team overall. But man, this is their year, right? It's not even close at this point. This is the Celtics' year. You have a 7-game lead in the division over the Nets right now. You are, let me see here. at least 3 games better than anyone else in the entire league over the Bucks right now. It's going to be the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Cavs in the playoffs. It's going to be the major matchups there. And now at this point, I don't know. I want to see another Celtics versus Cavs matchup because I think at this point the Celtics are sick and tired of losing to that team. And as I said before, the only thing that the Cavaliers can't handle is the second unit, right? So once you get the second unit out there, the Celtics should be able to kind of gain an advantage. But I don't know. It's I don't know. I keep bringing it up, obviously, because I'm gloating about my take that Ime Udoka never mattered. He never mattered. That scumbag can go wherever he wants now because it doesn't matter. The coaching in the NBA doesn't matter. It's just if your players are going to buy in, then you're going to be good. And clearly, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Brogdon, all these players, Derek White, all these players are completely bought in, and they saw what they could have been last year, minus Brogdon, didn't get to see that, but they saw what they could have been. They got the taste of it. You see the commercials now when you're watching the game. Nothing's given. We know we got a little taste. Now we got to work to get back to it. They're working. They're working extremely hard, and it's showing. So I do still think once you get into the playoffs, we're going to have to look into that defensive side of things. That's where things are it's going to be a lot harder to score. You're not going to get these cupcake matchups that you get in the regular season. Not that the Suns are one. I didn't say that. Even though it turned out to be that game was like a cupcake game. Whatever. We'll see how this team does. I'm excited for it. And it's a Celtics year. It's a Celtics year, man. Celtics year. All right, that's actually going to do it for today's episode. A little bit shorter of an episode today. We're wrapping up the week. We got the Patriots on Monday. I'll be back on Monday to talk about that going into the game, talking about everything that happened over the weekend. Like I said, we got the Bruins playing against the Coyotes tonight. We've got the Celtics playing against the Warriors tomorrow night. That's a good little matchup of the former finals matchup there. And then once again, the Bruins play the Vegas Golden Knights on Sunday, this time in Vegas. So we'll see how that one goes. A lot to be able to talk about on Monday about everything going on. And then we'll look ahead to the Patriots against the Cardinals, because I guess we have to at this point, but that season also seems over. So it's the Patriots and the Red Sox in the doghouse right now. It's the Bruins and the Celtics that are looking like possible champions. It's an interesting time to be a Boston sports fan. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I'll be back again next week, and we'll talk all about this stuff all again. See you later. Okay, it's time for everybody's favorite gambling competition, the Clapp Trap gambling competition. It is tough right now. Like I said last time, nobody's really considering it their favorite gambling competition. We kind of stink this year. Last year, way better than this year. I think everybody was over 500 last year. This year, not good. Not good. Not good. Everyone at least 8 games under 500 right now. Cam is leading the way at 28, 36, and 1. Not good. Mendez following up at 28 and 37. I'm behind him at 26, 38, and 1. Ugh. And then you got Matt pulling up the rear, 24, 39, and 2. So as far as the competition itself goes, it's anybody's game. So we're going to still be fighting for it, but I understand that probably nobody's following along at this point. And if anything, you're probably fading away from the picks. So we'll see how this week goes. I'm still holding out hope that I can turn my season around and at least get back to 500 or get back in this competition. That's all I'm hoping for right now. Get ahead of the guys in front of me. We'll see how things go. Like I said, not looking too good at this time. But either way, I'm going to start off with my picks, and I'm going to go with Jets Bills under 43 points in this one. Feels like this is going to be the type of game where it's actually going to be a little bit of a defensive battle, in my opinion. I feel like this Jets defense is actually pretty good overall, and they're going to be able to hold this Buffalo team to not going absolutely nuclear on this one. So under 43 feels pretty good to me. Also, Buffalo is a 10-point favorite in this one. So once again, whenever there is that big of a favorite in the game, I like to take the unders because usually what's going to happen is the team that is favored is going to get out early, create a big enough lead, and then start to run the ball, play for time of possession, that kind of thing, get it into the later stages of the games as quickly as possible. I'm still not convinced that Mike White and that Jets offense is going to do much. So we'll see, but I'm taking Jets Bills under 43 points for my first pick of the weekend. Second pick is going to be Texans Cowboys under 44. This one, another one, similar reasoning behind the other pick. Dallas Cowboys are actually a 17.5-point favorite in this game over the Texans. Texans have nothing to play for. Worst team in the league. They have no offense. Only Dameon Pierce, basically. And I don't even know if Brandon Cooks is playing. He might be, but I doubt it. And he's one of their best receivers. They got Nico Collins, maybe. But I don't think that you're going to get anything out of Houston. Once again, Dallas is going to get out to a quick lead. Then they're going to start running the ball. It's going to be a run fest. Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, getting a bunch of carries, getting a bunch of yards. And I think that even though Dallas could score upwards of 30-something points in this one, I don't think that the Texans are going to score much. So I'll take under 44 in the Texans-Cowboys game. Next pick I'm going with Vikings +2 at the Lions. I'm a little confused by this line, to be honest. Maybe I should be staying away from it because I'm confused by it. I don't see any major injuries right now for the Vikings that are going to hold them back from being able to play against this Lions team. I know that the Lions are still playing for a possible playoff spot and obviously coming off of an absolute destruction of the Jaguars last week, winning, I believe, 40-14. They are riding high right now. And that's exactly why I don't think that they're going to play good in this one. The Vikings are still trying to play for that number one seed, so they're trying to still win every single game, even at 10-2. They need to continue winning at this point. And giving them 2 points is something, even on the road, I just feel confident in. So I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take Vikings +2 at the Lions for my third pick. Pick number 4, we're going back to the unders. I'm taking Chiefs Broncos under 44 points in that game. That's in the 4 o'clock window. Once again, Chiefs are favored by 9.5 points. It's another one, same thing. I have no faith in the Broncos offense. I like going unders in the Broncos offensive games just because they don't score. Russell Wilson doesn't score. And I mean, maybe this could be the week where they figure things out, but I highly doubt it at this point that they're going to do much of anything against this Chiefs team. Once again, I think the Chiefs get out to an early lead, maybe something to Travis Kelce, a couple of touchdowns here and there. Who knows what's going to happen? That Pacheco, I don't know what the running back is. He'll get involved. The Chiefs will get up early. Then they'll hold for time of possession, and this game is going to stay under. So I'm taking under 44 points in the Chiefs-Broncos game. My last pick number 5, I'm going with Monday night. I'm sticking with my guys. I'm going with Patriots -1.5 at the Cardinals. Patriots coming off 2 losses in a row. This is the perfect time of year for them to come back and get a couple of wins against teams that it's not going to really matter at the end of the day. The Cardinals, though they have been better since Hopkins has come back, I still don't have full faith. And I think that this Patriots team can give them fits on defense. So you might want to think about the under in that one as well. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take the points here. I mean, I'm going to take the small advantage here, and I'm going to take Patriots -1.5 at the Cardinals for my last pick. Those are my picks, my 5. Like I said, last week went 2-3. Week before that, 3-2. I've been right around the middling on this one. I need to put in a good weekend. I think this card will be a good one, so hopefully it will, and maybe you'll ride with me. Maybe you should fade me. Who knows? At this point, the Clapp Trap picks, they make no sense. They are nonsensical. It is just like Clapp Trap at this point. So it is what it is. But we have some other picks to get into. So let's go with Cam's picks next.
Hey, y'all, it's Cam here with the picks for the week. We got all 5 in the NFL now. We'll start with the Lions -1.5 against the Vikings. I think the Lions are on a roll right now, and the Vikings have been overrated all year, so I think the Lions win. I'll take the Jets +10. It's a low total in this game. The Jets have a really good defense, so I think they can keep it close. I'll take the Jaguars +4 against the Titans. I think the Titans struggle to win by margin, and buying low on the Jaguars after they got their ass kicked. We got the Panthers +3.5 against the Seahawks. Panthers defense was really good, and they've been pretty competent. on offense with anybody but Baker. And last is the Patriots -1.5 against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are always pretty bad at home. Big coaching advantage for the Patriots. For the recap, Lions -1.5, Jets +10, Jaguars +4, Panthers +3.5, Pats -1.5.
Okay, well, I guess he's going against me on that pick of the Vikings-Lions game. He thinks that the Lions are going to keep rolling, but he's also with me on the Patriots. I agree with him, obviously, on that one. We'll see how things go. Also getting in there on Jets +10, trying to keep it close. So maybe that under pick will work good for both of us as well. Cam going into that one. He has the lead in the clubhouse currently. We'll see if anyone can knock him off. And that next person that has the best chance is Mendez. So let's go with his picks next.
Clappy week 14, coming down to the wire. I like this card a lot, so let's just get into it. First play, like Jamar Chase over 80.5 receiving yards versus Cleveland. Basically, Hayden Hurst is out for the game. T. Higgins has a hamstring injury that just popped up. Burrow's 0-4 versus Cleveland in his career. Burrow's on fire right now. I just think all lines are pointing to a Jamar Chase blow-up game. He looked good last week. Didn't look like the injury was bothering him. I think he's going to explode. Second play, Saquon Barkley under 70.5 rushing yards versus Philly. Barkley hasn't hit this mark in a couple weeks. Philly, their run defense was getting exploited a little bit, but they just got Jordan Davis back. They got Ndamukong Suh in the middle, and I think Philly's just going to get out to a big lead, but the Giants probably have to abandon the run. I like that one a lot. Third play, T.J. Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions versus Detroit. I'll fall for the revenge game narrative. Hawkinson's been a big part of the Vikings offense anyways. Detroit's actually been very good against the run the last couple of weeks, so I like TJ to hit that mark. Fourth play, Isaiah McKenzie over 3 receptions versus the Jets. Again, he's been on fire lately. The Jets, they have 2 corners on the outside. I think they're probably going to slow down Diggs and Davis a little bit. Josh Allen's been looking to just get the ball out a little bit quicker. McKenzie has 5 and I think 7 catches the last 2 games, so I like that one a lot. And my fifth play is actually in the same game. Stephon Diggs under 79.5 receiving yards against the Jets. They held Justin Jefferson in check last week. I'd buy into Sauce Gardner. I think this is a real deal. I think the Jets have a good defense. Diggs got 95 yards against him last week, but I think they're really just going to focus on trying to slow him down. So, all right, let's have another winning week. All right, buddy.
Okay, Mendez, as always, sticking with the player prop picks. It's done pretty good for him, I guess, from the competition standpoint. Not great overall, as we all suck, but good picks there out of him. We'll see what he has and what he's going to do in this one. Once again, he is just a half game back on Cam for the lead in the competition. So we'll see if he is able to overtake him with this card. All right, we got one last voicemail. We actually have Matt with his voicemail this week. Glad to have him back and with doing the voicemails and things like that. He's not completely out of it. He's only 4 games back of first place. So we'll see what he's able to do and what these picks entail. Let's go for it.
What's up, Clapp Trap world? It's Matty, hoping to make the big comeback with the picks this week. So, week 14 picks, rattling off. I'm going to ride that wave from last week. First one, going Pittsburgh, -2 at home against Baltimore. Don't see enough offense coming out of Baltimore. Not making this another pick, but that under looks a little bit, attractive too. But going with Pitt -2. I think they've got enough of a full squad to get the W. Next pick, Chargers +3.5 home against Miami. Home getting points. Who doesn't like that? I know there's some injury speculation around Tua. He's got an ankle issue. I think the Chargers are catching lightning, pardon the pun, at certain moments. I think this is a good spot game for them. So the Chargers +3.5. Third pick, Tampa Bay +3.5 in San Francisco. I know this is typically. It still shocks me that with Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, in San Francisco, that the line tells me they're relying on the defense and the Niners will be all right. I think Brady's catching that fire. He's going to be able to go in there. I love them getting 3.5 points in San Francisco. Next one, Kansas City in Denver, -9.5. If you think the Chiefs are going to score 10 points, then I think they're going to cover -9.5. Denver is god awful. I just put no stock in that team anymore. So even on the road in Denver, I think Kansas City -9.5 is a good pick. Last one. This line scares me. I don't understand why I set this, but I'm going with it. Seattle -3.5 at home against Carolina. I think Seattle's been playing super well. Carolina is, they're Carolina, and I think Seattle, with their great performances this year, they're going to be able to cover that 3.5. So again, Pittsburgh -2, Chargers +3.5, Bucks +3.5, East -9.5, Seattle -3.5. The Bucks to me.
Okay, good luck to him. Like he said, he's trying to crawl back into this competition at this point. Like I said, only 4 games back of first place. He could certainly make a move. It is only week 14. We go all the way through the regular season, so he's got some time to make up room. Can he do it? We'll see if the leaving of the voicemail is a good luck charm for him. But that is going to do it for the picks this weekend. We'll post them on Twitter as well. Just search the Clapp Trap. You'll be able to find that on Twitter. We are also up on Instagram at the Clapp Trap, on YouTube at the Clapp Trap, and we have it as a podcast as well. So I just want to say thank you to everyone tuning in to your favorite gambling competition, right? Because it's still that. It's still that. Everyone knows that. But we'll be back again next week, talk about the picks, talk about everything else going on in the world of sports. I appreciate you guys. See you later.